kindergarten, and welcome to another writing lesson. We've been reading all types of texts in farm animals, and we'll continue to read new texts about farm animals. And some of the texts tell us about real animals doing things in real life, and some of the texts tell us about animals acting like people. We've read The Little Red Hen, who got ready to make bread by harvesting the wheat and gathering all the ingredients. Have you ever felt like you were not ready to do something new? Did anyone or anything help you get ready? Your teacher's going to pause the video and you are going to talk about if you've ever done something new and someone has helped you get it ready. Just like the little red hen got ready to bake bread, writers get ready to write by studying the prompt. Today, we're going to study a writing prompt and plan choices we will make in our writing. Remember, planning is an important first step for writers. A good plan reminds you of important ideas to include and helps you put your ideas in order that makes sense. So today we're starting a brand new writing task, and it's all about writing and illustrating a 3-page story about farm animals acting like people. We've already read the text The Little Red Hen, where we know the little red hen is making bread. We know that this text is not real, as we discussed in a lesson earlier, that the hen is wearing clothes, the hen is talking, and it's walking around doing things people would do. The little red hen was acting like a person. In a couple lessons in this week and next week, we'll be reading the 3 Billy Goats Gruff and 3 Little Pigs, where in both of these texts, these characters act like people. So today, we're going to be getting to study that prompt and begin to brainstorm. Some tools that you may use today are lined paper, pencil, and/or crayon, and/or your seesaw. Your teacher will let you know how they want you to use your materials and what materials you'll use. They may pause the video now or later for you to go get them. Remember, good readers think, tell, write, and draw. First, we're going to study that prompt. We're going to read the prompt. We're going to talk about who are you writing for, what type are you writing? Are you writing a letter? Are you writing a story? How long it is? And we're going to look out for clues. Why are we writing it? And today, we're going to also talk about some questions that we're going to ask to help us be better writers about our prompt. So the first thing we need to do is read the prompt. Write and illustrate a 3-page story in which farm animals act like people. In a moment, your teacher is going to pause the video and you're going to talk about who you're writing it for, what type you're writing, a letter or a story, how long it will be, and what's the purpose of writing it. Remember, you can always go back and reread the prompt. You might have talked about you are writing your 3-page story in which farm animals act like people for your teacher. We also share it out with our teammates, so you might have talked about your audience being your class. We know by reading the prompt, it says story, so we're going to be writing a story, and we also know it's going to be 3 pages. Why are we writing it? We're writing a story. And some questions we're going to ask ourselves during this lesson today while we brainstorm is what animals will be in a story, and in the future we'll ask ourselves, what does these animals say? Because our farm animals are going to be acting like people, and we know people talk. Now let's move to our brainstorming. We're going to decide what to think about, then we're going to make a list, we're going to draw, and then we're going to write and draw our ideas. Before we jump into our brainstorming for our writing prompt, let's go back to the little red hen. In the book, The Little Red Hen, the hen bakes bread. Imagine you were a baker. What are some things that you would like to bake? Your teacher's going to pause the video and you're going to talk about what would you like to bake. I'm sure you just came up with so many different ideas for a baked good and then chose one. This is an example of brainstorming. People may also brainstorm names for a pet or activities to do during recess. Writers brainstorm too. Today, we will learn how to brainstorm to make us better writers. Brainstorming helps writers plan a writing task. It lets writers explore their ideas and choose the best ones to include in their writing. Writers often brainstorm to decide on characters and settings when the prompt gives a choice. Today, we're going to focus on just brainstorming who our characters are going to be in our story. So let's think. Our writing prompt is write and illustrate a 3-page story in which farm animals act like people. Before I dive into that thinking, what might be the best way to brainstorm my ideas for characters? Yeah, step 2 helps us know that we can make a list and we can draw. I'm going to draw the pictures of the animals today, and you can do the same when it's your time. So I know that my story is going to be about farm animals acting like people. So the characters I'll include in my story need to be farm animals. They're not going to be zoo animals. They're not going to be sea animals. They're not going to be forest animals. They're going to be farm animals because that's what the writing prompt is asking. Today, we're just brainstorming the characters that we may want to include in our story. So thinking about the farm animals that I want in my story, I'm thinking maybe a dog. I really love dogs, and I know my last story was about dogs. Maybe I'll include a duck that wears a blue hat, and maybe I'll include a cat that wears a purple shirt, and maybe another duck. I'm not quite sure what my story is going to be, but I really like all of these farm animals, so these farm animals might be in my story. Your teacher's going to pause the video and you guys are going to start to brainstorm what characters you will include in your story. So now starting to think about what my story might be, I don't need all of these characters. So I'm going to circle 2 characters that I really want my story about. I know that I already wrote a story about a dog, and these 2 ducks are really starting to look like they can make me write a really interesting, fun story. So I'm going to choose the 2 ducks for the characters in my story. Your teacher's going to pause the video and you guys are going to pick at least 2 characters that you want in your story. You might have drawn 4 characters, you might have drawn 6 characters. Go ahead and pick at least 2 characters by circling them. Now that you've done all that brainstorming work, you're going to go to Seesaw and you're either going to take a picture of the writing that you've done or you're going to do it in Seesaw. Your teacher will give the directions. You're going to take those pictures of at least 3 farm animals and draw them and then circle at least 2 characters you might want to use. Until next time, bye Kipsters.